This is Hammer Striker here. Today we've got a bit of an unusual gun on our table. We've got a Ruger Mark II chambered in .22 LR. We've got a local viewer that does have an interest in odd, unusual guns. He's the one that let us borrow the Sky that we reviewed, the Kel-Tec PMR 30, and he's let us borrow this gun. This Mark series, this one happens to be a Mark II. I'll show you that it is unloaded, and I'll note it's got the European mag release. So you pull back on this little lever to eject the magazine and then pull the magazine out. It's not the most convenient way to work it, but a lot of guns do have that. And it is unloaded. You can see on the side it's stamped Ruger Mark II. So this is being the Mark II series, and that it's chambered in .22 caliber long rifle, actually spelled out instead of the .22 LR. And the stamping here is very difficult to read. Maybe we get a little bit of light on it, we'll be able to pick it up. But this is an anniversary edition. So it's the Ruger 50th anniversary edition, and it's stamped up on the top of the receiver. And it's kind of fine writing and stamped into the black, so it's a little bit difficult to read. But that one does make this one a little more unique than some of the others that you might commonly find. The Mark series itself has been around for a long time, started with the Mark I and has continued forward into the .22-45s that you see today. And there's variations in barrel lengths, grip angles, and many of the other features, but the basic operating mechanism really hasn't changed. This particular one has the 4 3/4 inch barrel, and it's about 8.5 inches long from end to end. But these have been available in a 4-inch barrel all the way up to a 10-inch barrel. They're fairly heavy. They weigh 44, 46 on up ounces, depending on which barrel you happen to have on it. This one's got the heavy taper barrel, but it's a little bit shorter than some of the other ones, so it's probably coming in around 45 ounces. But these aren't meant to be concealed carry guns. That's not what they're designed for. That was never the intent of them. These are definitely range guns, target guns, match guns, and you could use them for varminting rabbits and things like that. The sights on this, the ring is part of the barrel. So this sight ring that holds the sight into place is a fixed part of the barrel. But you'll see there's a little tiny pin here. It's almost impossible to see. If you get a little bit of light, you can see the pin. And if I turn it, if I can get it back into the frame, you can see that it's kind of split right here. And so the sight sits inside of this ring. And you can pull that pin out, pop this sight out, and replace it with another sight. On this particular gun, but not all of them, the rear sight is windage and height adjustable. So it's a fully adjustable sight with a U similar to the Glock, a U-dot format similar to the Glocks. And it's fully adjustable. So this would have been one of the Target series. The flanges on the back are actually attached to the bolt, and you operate the bolt by pulling it all the way back. And the lock that comes with it would actually go through here to secure it. The child lock or unauthorized use lock would actually go through the bolt as opposed to going through the chamber. The disassembly on this is actually fairly easy. Reassembly is very difficult unless you know how to do it. If you know how to do it, it's actually quite easy. I'm not going to disassemble this in this video. The disassembly and reassembly process on these guns probably accounts for the majority of them that end up in a used counter. People get them, they can't get them back together again, they get fed up with them. Even the owner of this one doesn't shoot it as often as he might because he finds it difficult to reassemble. So we're going to do a separate video on a very easy process to disassemble, clean, and reassemble these things. But I'll just tell you in general, this is the mainspring housing. You pull up this lever, the whole mainspring housing comes out. Once that comes out, you can pull the bolt out, and then you can pop the barrel and receiver all one unit, and they pop off the top. Clean it, and then you reassemble it. It holds 10+1, so your standard 10-round magazine, the typical .22 magazines that you see, though these are not interchangeable with other magazines like them, like the Neos or any of the others. And from a styling perspective, it's based, really styled after the Luger P08 and possibly the Browning Bookmark. So let me turn it a little bit here so that you can get a zoom in on the back strap and the mechanism. There's a little lever here that you reach in and you pull forward, and this whole assembly slides out. Kind of looks like an old lock on a, like a shop door or something like that. And it is known to be quite miserable to get back together. But in messing around with this one, I found a fairly easy process that's pretty much foolproof. And I'll show it to you in the subsequent video. And with that, at that point, once you're able to clean it and maintain it, there's really no good reason not to get one of these if you're just looking for a fun gun. It's not a home defense gun, it's not a range gun, it's not a concealed carry gun. It is a range gun, a target gun, a just because gun, and they're really nice looking. And with the number of variations they come in, you can get them in different colors, different barrel lengths. There's kind of a wide variety of options available with these things. Now the Mark II that I have in my hand right here is no longer in production. You can find them used. It superseded the Mark II and then was of course followed by the Mark III. And these days it's the 2245 series that is currently in production and being built. So a few of the other things I'll show you are the controls, which are actually fairly simple. You've got the bolt release, which is right here. So if the bolt were back, you can push up on it to lock the bolt, or you can push down on it to release the bolt. And it has a safety, a thumb safety. Up is safe, down is fire. And then of course you've got the trigger. Now, this is a rimfire gun, so I'm not going to pull the trigger on it, but it does have a very light, very nice trigger. It's actually surprisingly nice trigger on it. So overall, you want a fun gun? They're not very expensive, especially if you pick up one of the older ones used. They're all steel and very durable, with the exception of some of the newer ones have some polymer components, but they're still durable. This is just kind of a fun little because I can gun. If you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe. Have a great day. Thank you.